Today we bring you
Reconstructing Spirit Hill. Previously on Reconstructing Spirit Hill. We would like to have a place that was away from all of the hustle and bustle, and that we could spend a little bit more time enjoying the great outdoors, the beauty of nature. I had very conflicting thoughts whenever I first took a look around at this place. I told him that the house was a teardown. I did not foresee it being salvageable. It really needed a lot of work. My vision has kind of morphed the more we've gone through the project.
We had a lot of challenges with this project, kind of like a Chevy Chase, the Griswolds meet the money pit.
The work that was being done turned into a much bigger scope than we had ever anticipated. So we no longer were doing a restoration, we were doing a full-on
New construction.
Any of those things that we had in our mindset to accomplish, poof. Given all of the issues we were being faced with, Charlie made the recommendation that we go glamping. So we said our goodbyes to the apartment and packed everything that we could possibly into storage units. The rest we sold and started a whole new chapter. We came into a whole other slew of challenges and conflicts that I would have never seen coming.
Hey, pretty lady. Woo, okay, I feel like I'm gonna fall. Holy schmoly.
Oh my god. That's gorgeous. I start to go really fast and it gets exciting and then I second guess it and I get really scared. But I have to slow down.
Just don't fall off one of the sides.
Thanks, babe.
Okay, my finger's about to freeze off. Oh, it's cold on my hand. Whoa. There's little people down there.
Something you may not know is that we are still newlyweds. So we just a couple of years ago got married up in Telluride, Colorado in one of their worst blizzard storms that they've had in many years. It was chaotic but so beautiful, and it was literally the kind of wedding scene that is like a fairy tale wedding scene, only with buckets of snow.
Literally buckets of snow. But we had a nice little cabin up there. We got to go snowboarding, which we love doing. And it's where Shauna is from, so that was kind of special. We actually got engaged in Colorado too, Cottonwood Lake.
Pulling out all the stops this one, but yeah, it was pretty.
There you go, buddy. Stay up. Keep your balance.
Fast forward 6 months, and we are moving into our new home on wheels. That's actually gonna stay stationary, but.
It is a nice home. It's a stereo system throughout. TV in this room. Another TV. It's a little desk. Sunlight window. That is the second door. This closes off. This is a door. This is also a door.
We were really blessed in the bedroom and the bathroom areas that there were a lot of hanging cabinets and a big closet space.
There's a ton of storage space. Storage, more storage, lots of storage. Storage drawer there. It had 2 bedrooms. These are the bunk beds. Table comes down, folds into a bed. It's the bedroom. 1 bathroom, and the bathroom was directly in the center of the hallway, so if
it was like a pass-through bathroom.
Shower, a small bathtub. It's the potty. It was one of those situations where, as newlyweds and newly merged families, you quickly learn to get over your insecurities of using the restroom with others.
It's quite intimate.
Paper-thin walls away. We did have a porta potty on the property, which was nice for the construction crews that still hadn't started.
Yes.
Fridge. Microwave. Oven. Sinks.
We were settling into our glamping lifestyle, but in order to do so, we had to do a little preparation on that side as well. We had to call electric companies to get a temporary power pole established where we were going to be staying so that we could have electric and water.
So what I have here is a temporary power pole. We're using it to hook up our RV, hook up our water, and make it suitable for temporary living while we rebuild our old farmhouse. With temporary power poles, you can't just put one in the ground and move a camper out on it. They won't let you do that. And you have to get it permitted. So with that, we actually had to go and get an agricultural permit, which allows us to install a power pole for the agricultural use. And what I need to do is figure out a way to hook power up to the RV and down to the well house there so that we can get power and water to that RV. We couldn't roll that into a permit for the camper until we had the septic permit, which was kind of taking a little while.
We couldn't find a septic anywhere. We saw pipes, but there were toilets. So we knew that the sewage had to go somewhere.
And we started digging up the pipe out of the main bathroom, and we found the old ceramic pipe coming out, and we kept following it and following it and following it. And
so there's one more thing. Well, so that added another expense that we weren't anticipating.
We were in a situation where when they came out to test our soil for the septic system that we didn't have, we flat out failed it.
Yeah, they tested all over the land.
You call it shale? We were just debating what it was. When I was out here with an auger, I didn't have a clue.
This rock here is just country boy term for it. I call a lot of this rock in this area rotten rock. You can stack it out, rain on it a year, it turns back to sort of soil and decays.
It wasn't possible for us to have the typical septic system.
What we did was we hired a soil scientist, and he came out with the county.
So is this more lithochromatic? Color changes here?
I think you got real potential for some relic colors on a landscape like this.
And what are those?
Relic. Where it used to be wet, but it's not anymore.
Okay.
And just a different hydrological state.
They had a big excavator out there just digging like holes that you could fit a coffin in 6 feet down. Then they'd climb down in there and they'd they start scraping soil out and testing it. After digging up the entire property, which is about 30 acres,
That's an exaggeration.
they decided that the best spot for a leach field was right behind the house.
But it took a little negotiating, and
We need 24 inches. You know what we've had each time? 24 inches. But this is what you call making the health department come. Yeah, we got some more out here.
We had to build the fence because the low profile system, we weren't allowed to have any animals on it or large pieces of equipment. Being the professional fence builders that we are, went out and started building one of our marvelous board fences.
Did you measure from the center of the house to this point? I did, and it's roughly 107 feet. I measured that same distance all the way down the other. Should we do this post to the center post? In other words, should we anchor this post and the center post? And then, or should we anchor the center post and then the base, the exteriors off of the center post?
So, you're saying it's the same exact distance?
No. What I'm saying is I measured from the center metal piece that you placed to here. That's 107, where it's currently staked is only at like 70.
Actually, probably one of our best fences yet.
well, that's because the last fence we've done.
Yeah.
We'd already done all the other fences. We got it right. Okay, so while we had people coming and digging up holes all around the house and the land, we also had to figure out what we were going to do about our roofing system. So we weren't planning on being in that space for a significant period of time.
We had only been in the camper for like a week, right? And we had a few downpours. And we quickly realized that yeah, things were dripping around us.
So the camper that we thought was weatherproof wasn't so weatherproof. Campers are meant to move, and they're not meant to just necessarily sit in the weather.
We need to come up with a more tangible solution. So Kaya and I climbed up on top of the camper with some paintbrushes and painted the roof of the camper with silicone. And it worked. It pretty much, after that, we didn't have as many drips, as many. The ones we had left came from the plumbing.
Oh, that was a whole other thing.
Yeah, the first night we were in the camper, everybody's asleep, and somehow, I don't know how I did this, but I broke the shower faucet to the camper, so water was just spewing out everywhere. And
like, you think about the fire hydrant, you know, like whenever it's broken off and there's water like squirting out.
yeah, it was that bad. So I cut the water off, but because we were in the camper, Shauna had to go to work in the morning, Kaya had to go to school.
No water, no showers.
No showers. I ended up going to the only place on earth I could think of that would have something for me to fix it, Walmart.
It was late. I think it was like midnight whenever he was going to find a remedy to this water situation so we could shower.
I took a sink faucet.
Put it upside down, jerry-rigged it, or whatever you call it. Necessity is the...
It's creativity.
Necessity is the, like the father or the mother of invention or something like that?
I am the father of invention, not necessity.
You and necessity work well together.
Yeah. Those little hot water tanks on the campers are not meant for the high flow of a normal faucet.
It was a struggle.
Yeah, it was a struggle.
Fine-tuned experience. You learn to appreciate things like a good shower after living in a camper for a long period of time that is rigged up, funky, water pressure. Didn't happen.
Anyway, so we fixed that issue. We stopped the water from coming in through the ceiling. We kind of stopped it through the pipes after causing it. And then we were good to go to live in that thing.
Got mud on your face, make this race, kicking your can all over the place. Sing, we will rock it, sing, we will rock it.
We got settled. Bit of a challenge and a journey getting everyone to consolidate and get into the camper. We were rocking and rolling.
With rebidding the house, we came into a pretty significant problem. Nobody coming in here could figure out what the last guy was doing. It was kind of a complete mess, and nobody really understood why certain things were in the places that they were. It didn't make a whole lot of logical sense to most of the framers that were here. The company that we ended up going with is a general contractor who actually does his own framing.
He's a framing company.
Yeah.
Who also does general contracting.
He works with an engineer, so we brought in an engineer to basically look over the structure of that was here and help us create design plans that would help utilize what was in place, but also satisfy the building codes. The house was so blank slate at that point in time that we got to kind of design how we wanted it laid out.
So, my bed probably starts right here and goes in right here. Yeah.
When we move it down that way a little bit because of the door.
And there. Right here's my desk. And then right here's my canopy. And then about like right here was in my
We kept with a fairly traditional, or what we thought was the original layout of the house. We actually had we've had several people stop by our house, and they're elderly people that are like, I grew up in this house, or relatives of someone who grew up in this house. And so it's interesting, we've actually had a couple of them come through and walk through the house with us and give us different stories about their experience in this home. And one lady made me feel like we had the kitchen backwards. But then other people were saying that it was where it was supposed to be, so who knows what the original design was of this home. I have no idea.
She was in her late 80s, early 90s, and she lived in the house when she moved here when she was 4 and lived here for several years. But if you go that far back in time, there's really no telling where the kitchen was, because the house had been added onto and expanded. And for where she thought the kitchen was, that could have been at that time a summer kitchen, which is actually slightly detached from the house, because she talked about a porch on the back that they would go to from the kitchen. Definitely an interesting lady, though.
Oh, she was fantastic. I love that kind of stuff. So I love the old stories. I'm trying to nail down the actual history of this house, because there are so many random stories that we've heard. So I'm going to try to put together a history book of the house and the land, whenever I can get it all figured out.
When you're sitting there for a year trying to figure out how to get a project back on track, you just move your entire family into a camper on your property, and then you're sitting there for another month with nothing going on.
I wouldn't say nothing. We did a lot of demo and building a fence at the house.
Yeah, we did build a lot of fence, but then to have basically a cavalry show up. second week of November that things really kind of kicked off out here.
Holidays came around, so Thanksgiving, and I find out that my in-laws want to come visit.
Having them come down was great for us. The problem is when you've got already 4 people living in a camper, and then you add 2 people and their dog on top of that for a nice holiday weekend.
It was just comical. Like, I mean, it wasn't bad at all, and they were so helpful.
But the rest of November was actually a pretty exciting time on the property. It was a pretty exciting week out here. We had the tree guys come in and de-weed the house and move the trees out from places in it. Framers were here. They finished kind of demoing the stuff that had to be demoed and started framing in the stuff that was sketchy. We had the septic guy showed up and installed the septic system.
With things finally moving in the right direction at the house, we were able to take a little bit of time during Christmas to go visit some family and just cool our heels for a little bit. And then in the new year, we had some exciting changes and challenges in the house and some drastic changes in our personal lives.